Hello and welcome to another episode of Blue Alpine TV. In today's episode, we're going to talk about three different topics. One being a quick article that I wrote about a Swiss bank offering an ICO, whether that's a good idea or a bad one. And then we're going to talk about some stable coins coming out of two companies that we've talked about a lot, Coinbase and Circle. And the third topic is Monero transaction fees dropping by close to 97%, and kind of comparing that to the banking system. But first, let's jump into this first news story. So essentially, if you're not following me on LinkedIn, or if you're on LinkedIn, make sure to check out this article. Essentially, what I wrote about is this news. So Swissquote is one of the first, if not the first, Swiss online bank, if you will, that started in Switzerland a couple of years ago and has been ever since kind of cemented as the most innovative online bank without any retail locations at all. So obviously they are kind of interested in bringing crypto more to the masses, and this is exactly what they're trying to do with this press release, where they are saying, look, we're going to offer an ICO from an university spin-off, which is called Lake Diamond. So they are doing industry grade diamonds, and what they are trying to do is kind of position themselves as still being the most innovative bank in Switzerland. And they are doing this by offering this ICO, offering it to their customers. And Swissquote is actually one of the few, if not the only bank that is offering even buying cryptocurrencies for their customers as well. So they are offering doing the custody part, the ICO part, and all of these things for this company called Lake Diamond. I have some points about this, to be honest, and I would appreciate if you could read through the article and kind of let me know in the comments as well, because I think there are different topics that we should think about when a Swiss bank is actually doing an ICO. Next up, we have this topic right here. Crypto giants Coinbase and Circle launched digital dollar USDC, and that's actually came out 4 hours ago. If you're listening to this on tomorrow's show, probably, so on Wednesday, this came out on Tuesday. So it says here that San Francisco-based Coinbase on Tuesday announced that beginning today, customers can buy, sell, send, and receive USD Coin, the cryptocurrency initially launched by fellow cryptocurrency unicorn Circle. Now, quite interesting. We've had in the last week or so, we've had quite an issue with Tether going down and actually going below the 97 cent range. And as you know, Tether should be a stable coin, so it should be pegged to the US dollar, should stay at $1, yet it dropped in value. So a lot of people were saying, well, the Tether stuff is over, it's all just a fake, and so on. And now we have another stable coin, this USD coin, which is again pegged to the US dollar, and we'll see how exactly this behaves. Now, interestingly, stablecoins seem to get a lot of hype these days, and actually what I want to do, and I'll probably do this week or next week, is kind of do a special video or report, or both actually, on stablecoins. So I'll look at different stablecoins, I'll look at the pros and cons, and then we'll discuss them a bit more in detail there. What you need to know right now, Coinbase and Circle have this USD coin, and kind of also are being part of Center, and Center is a consortium which governs the development of issuance of USD coin and other stable coins that the consortium may develop in the future, meaning it's kind of a, as far as I know, a non-profit, an organization that should stay independent and should kind of make sure that these stable coins get issued by the right instances, without actually someone or some organization controlling the general stablecoin. It says here, launch USDC, reinforce the value of shared standard interoperable stablecoin. Like internet standards, USDC is now not owned by one single company, but distributed among network participants according to clear rules, regulations, and collectively owned software. Quite interesting. So it's kind of like an a non-profit, an organization that is taking care, but obviously Coinbase and Circle are quite interested in making sure that their USD coin or their stablecoin is actually making it to the top. So as I said, I will publish a more kind of in-depth stablecoin report soon. Then, quite interesting, Monero transaction fees are down 97% since the hard fork. So in the last couple of days, Monero has done a hard fork called the Monero 0.13.0 Beryllium Bullet, and has made a hard fork implement a trustless, non-interactive, zero-knowledge framework called the Bulletproof for the privacy coin, which enabled XMR transaction details to be hidden from public blockchain validation. And for the podcast listeners, what we can see here are actually two pictures from coinmetrics.io, where it shows you that before the fork, the transaction sizes were actually around 18.5 kilobytes, and after the fork it dropped to 3 kilobytes, and with that obviously the transaction fees dropped as well, because it's quite cheaper, or less transaction volume, if you will, or less kind of data that goes through in one transaction, hence why it is much lower. So it has plummeted from 60 cents to 2 cents in average fee. That obviously is a huge deal, especially if you're interested and believe in Monero as a technology. And this, for example, something we'll update our reports on as well. We have written about Monero in the past and kind of written fundamental analysis. So this is exactly the stuff that we'll need to get into a fundamental analysis research report as well. So quite interesting that this is happening. And again, and guys, I've been today to a meetup in cryptocurrency, and we've had some ideological and some kind of financial discussions as well. And what my point was in certain discussions was essentially that this is programmable money. So if we're not happy with the system as it is right now, it is in our power, or in the developer's power, to kind of develop on top of this. And this is exactly the result. If something good comes out of it, the fees can actually drop. Now compare this, and this is super random, obviously, for the podcast listeners. I'm currently looking at average ATM fees by the site bankrate.com, and says here since 1998, the total fees and ATM fees have actually increased from around $2 to almost $5 here, and ATM surcharge as well from $1 to $3, and a fee to use other ATM is actually also from $1 to $1.5 US. Now obviously this is comparing a bit apples and oranges, but at the same time it's also apples and apples, because we're looking at banking fees. Now I was actually looking for the average amount of banking fees you have paid, or we have paid, in the last, let's say, 30 or 40 years. And I would argue that the fees have increased as well in relation to the money we have kind of in the bank account. And I would argue that in cryptocurrency, again, this is a huge advantage, that if you improve the technology, this is actually the fees that will drop, and this is exactly what you will get. You will see that these numbers are dropping as well, whereas the banks are still increasing their fees because of inflation and all of these other things. Now with that, guys, we're already at the end of today's episode. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.